Welcome to Gemara Academy. In this class, we will learn Tosfos Dibra Maschel Hayaker b'Sefer Alei Skufa. Let's begin. Hayaker b'Sefer Alei Skufa. In the Gemara, we presented the Mishnah that taught that if a person was reading a Sefer while on his skufa on the doorstep, and part of the Sefer rolled out into the Rosh Hashanah, a person is allowed to bring it back in. Tosfos is going to ask why the Mishnah speaks about a Sefer and not about any item. When it speaks about a sefer, it seems to say that only a sefer is allowed to be brought back out of derech eretz to the sefer. And the truth of the matter is that a person would be allowed to bring back any item if such a thing happened. So why do we speak specifically about a sefer? So let's see Tosfos inside. V'im Tamer, and if one asks, well, Rava bepirkin, according to Rava in our parak, the lay gazer b'karmel is gzer l'gzer. That says we're not gazer and the karmel is gzer l'gzer, which means the whole issa to carry. Let's talk about our case from the Rosh Hashanah to the karmelis on its own is only Asr Midrabanan, is only Xera. Says Rava, so by a karmelis ain't Geizrim Xera l'Xera. If there's another Isser, which the whole Isser on its own is also only Midrabanan, is also only Xera, we won't apply it by a karmelis, because we're not going to make a Xera on a Xera by a karmelis. And Rava says this guy, but he says it regarding the din that a tailor is not allowed to go out with his needle on Erev Shabbos, since he might come to carry on Shabbos. So ask Tosfos, my area sefer, according to Rava that says that we don't make Xer l'Xer by a karmelis, why specifically a sefer? Why did we specifically mention in the Mishnah that a person can bring back a sefer? The truth is, afilu kol mili, even all other things, nami, also shari, are permitted be'egde b'yade if they remained in a person's hand. So we'll explain it and then see it inside. Anytime a person is in a karmelis and part of an item that he was holding fell into Rosh Hashanah, he is going to be allowed to bring it back in, because the whole issa to bring from a Rosh Hashanah, to carry in from Rosh Hashanah to a karmelis is midrabanan, and the issa to carry something into a rishus when part of it is already in the rishus and part is out is also only midrabanan. And we said we don't make exer l'xer in a karmelis. So if at any time a person would have an item that partially is in the karmelis and partially in a Rosh Hashanah, he's going to be allowed to bring it back in. So why did the Mishnah specifically mention a sefer? So let's see how Tosfos explains why it would be permitted anywhere. Since even if it didn't remain in his hand, there would be no isser but an isser midrabanan. So since there's no isser but midrabanan, since the case is from a Rosh Hashanah to a karmelis, and now it's another isser that we need to get midrabanan, which is that part of it is in his hand and only part of it is in the other rishus, so it should be permitted. And now Tosfos is going to support this question by negating a possible answer. We cannot establish this case but to be talking about in a skufa that's a karmelis. So if we say that skufa is a rishus hayachid, so then we could explain that generally speaking it's also to carry the item back into the rishus hayachid, since we're carrying from rishus harabim to rishus hayachid, and there's only one isser midrabanan here, that the item is partially in the Rosh Hashanah. So we're going to keep that Istam Midrabanan in place, and we won't permit the person to bring it in unless it's a Kisvei Kodesh. Since they have to show respect to the Kisvei Kodesh, we'll remove the Istam Midrabanan. But says Tosfos, we're not able to establish this case, unless it's talking about a skufa that's a karmelis. Like Abaye concludes in the last parak of Eruvin. And since it's a karmelis, it would be permitted to bring back anything. So why does the Mishnah only speak about a sefer? And says Tosfos, Shlimmer can say, the Nokat sefer, that he chose the sefer as the example, Ashminu, to teach us that afilu sefer, even a sefer, even a sefer, if it didn't remain partially in his hand, he won't be able to bring it back in. So really a person can bring back in anything. The reason the Mishnah chose to talk about a sefer is to tell us that even a sefer is only allowed to be brought back in when, number one, it's a karmelis and a Rosh Hashanah, and number two, part of it remained in his hand. However, if the whole thing fell out, he's not allowed to bring it back in. And what's the chiddush? That Tosfos now will support this answer by telling us what the chiddush is here. So it's in purple. La Fuge Rabbi Shimon. This excludes the opinion of Rabbi Shimon, the Amar that said Hassam over there in the Gemara that discusses this Mishnah, that called davar shehu mishum shvus, anything that is only based on a shvus, that's only midrabanan, einay emed b'fnei kisvei kodesh, won't stand in the face of respecting kisvei kodesh. So according to Rabbi Shimon, even if the sefer fell entirely into the Rosh Hashanah, he'll be permitted to bring it back in, since the whole list to bring from Rosh Hashanah to a karmelis is only midrabanan. So according to Rabbi Shimon, he would be allowed to bring it back in, and that's why the Mishnah talks about a sefer to tell us that even a sefer could only be brought back in if part of it fell into the Rosh Hashanah and part remained in the karmelis, and we do not agree with the opinion of Rabbi Shimon.